It was supposed to be the perfect escape. My family and I had been looking for a new beginning, and when we found that old house in the countryside, it seemed like a dream. The price was right, and it was far enough from the city to give us the peace and quiet we craved. But something about the house felt off from the start. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I chalked it up to being in a new place. It didn't help that the storm started the night we arrived. Thunder boomed in the distance as we carried boxes into the house. My mom and dad were already settling in, trying to make the place feel like home, but I could sense their unease too. The storm intensified as the hours passed, the wind howling through the trees, rain pelting against the windows. As I lay in bed that night, trying to fall asleep, I heard strange sounds coming from upstairs. It wasn't just the storm. It was something else. Whispers, barely audible but unmistakable. I pulled the covers over my head, telling myself it was just my imagination. But then it happened again the next night. I couldn't ignore it anymore. I was in the living room when I first saw it. An old portrait hanging above the fireplace. I hadn't noticed it before, but now it felt like it was staring at me. The painting depicted a man and woman dressed in old-fashioned clothes, their eyes strangely bright, even though it was dim in the room. I tried to shrug it off, but the longer I stared, the more it seemed like their eyes were following me. My heart started to race. Was the storm playing tricks on me? Or was something in that house watching us? The next day, we discovered the hidden room in the attic. My mom had asked me to help clear out some boxes when I stumbled upon it. The door was barely visible, hidden behind stacks of old furniture. When I opened it, I found only a single chair in the middle of the room, facing the wall. That's when I realized it wasn't just any room. It was part of the house's dark past. As night fell, the storm worsened. The house creaked and groaned under the pressure, and I could hear the wind roaring outside. Then it happened. The lights flickered, and the whispers returned, louder now, filling the air. I tried to find my parents, but when I walked into the living room, the house was empty. It was just me and the whispers. I ran upstairs, hoping to find them, but instead, I found myself face to face with the portrait again. The eyes of the man and woman glowed bright, almost as if alive. My breath caught in my throat. I couldn't look away. I stumbled back, but it felt like the house was holding me in place. The thunder cracked so loudly that it shook the walls, and for a moment, I thought I saw the faces of the couple from the portrait. They weren't smiling anymore. Panicked, I searched the house for my family. The storm outside was relentless, but I was more afraid of what was inside. I finally found my parents in the basement, standing still as statues. They weren't moving, weren't even blinking. I called out to them, but there was no response. I shook them, trying to get them to snap out of whatever trance they were in. Then I heard it. A voice, low and cold, whispered from behind me. "You're not supposed to leave." I turned, but there was no one there, only the storm howling through the cracks of the old house. I don't remember how long I stayed in that basement, but when the storm finally died down, it was as if the house itself exhaled. The air felt different, calmer. The strange occurrences stopped, but a part of me knew it wasn't over. I couldn't shake the feeling that the house had been waiting for us, and that the storm wasn't just nature's fury, but a warning. That night, I dreamed of the faces from the portrait again, their eyes glowing, and the whisper, "You'll never leave." The next morning we left. We didn't talk about it. We couldn't. But I knew one thing for sure. No one should ever move into that house. It wasn't just old and creaky, it was cursed. And the storm? That was just the beginning. I should have known something was off when the thunderstorm hit harder than I expected. I was driving back from a weekend visit with friends, hoping to make it home before the rain got too bad. But somewhere along the way, I got turned around. My phone's GPS lost signal, and the roads around me became more desolate by the minute. The rain pounded against the windshield, and the flashes of lightning illuminated the dark landscape in eerie bursts. I spotted a small old gas station off the side of the road, barely visible through the rain. Grateful for any sign of life, I pulled in, hoping to get directions. The moment I stepped out of the car, I felt that uneasy chill, like something wasn't quite right. Inside, the fluorescent lights flickered, and the attendant, a scruffy man with an unshaven face, barely looked up from behind the counter. He gave me a quick nod and said, "You lost, ma'am?" I smiled, trying to sound calm. "Yeah, I think so. My GPS went out, and I just need to get back to the main highway." He studied me for a long second before pointing to the road behind the station. "Head down that way, but you'd be better off waiting out the storm here. People don't come through these parts much anymore. It's not safe in weather like this." I waved him off, deciding to keep going. "Thanks, but I'll be fine." I got back into my car, and as I pulled away, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching me. The road was narrow, surrounded by dense trees, and it felt like I was driving deeper into nowhere. The storm worsened, and I could barely see the road in front of me. Then I noticed it. A car, the same one I'd seen parked outside the gas station, was tailing me. I tried to ignore it at first, thinking it was just my imagination playing tricks in the storm, but after several miles it was clear. The car was following me, staying just a few feet behind. I panicked. There was nowhere to pull over, no sign of any other cars, just the endless road and the pounding rain. My heart started to race as the vehicle followed me, its headlights shining through the storm. The more I looked in the rearview mirror, the more I could make out the shadow of someone in the car. A man, alone. Then the worst thought crossed my mind. What if he was dangerous? What if he was looking for someone, anyone, to target in this isolated area? I slammed my foot down on the gas, trying to outpace him, but no matter how fast I went, he stayed right behind me. The storm was blinding, and the road seemed to stretch on forever. Suddenly, my phone rang. I glanced down, hoping it was a call from a friend or family member, but when I saw the caller ID, I froze in fear. It was my mom. I quickly answered, my voice shaky. "Mom, what's going on?" Her voice, almost too calm, sent a shiver down my spine. "You need to stop, right now. There's someone on that road with you." I gripped the wheel tighter. "What? What do you mean? Who is it?" "Don't trust him, honey," she whispered. "I've been watching the news. There's a man who's been following women in this area for years. He's the one who's been waiting for you. Get off the road, find somewhere safe, and don't stop for anyone." I wanted to scream, but I couldn't. My heart thudded in my chest as I realized my worst fear was coming true. I wasn't just being followed, I was being hunted. I made a sharp turn, hoping to lose the car, but when I looked in the rearview mirror, the headlights were still there, closing in. Panic overtook me. I didn't know where to go. I couldn't outrun him. Just then, a flash of lightning illuminated the road ahead, and for the briefest moment, I saw someone, standing in the middle of the road. My heart stopped. I slammed on the brakes, tires screeching on the wet pavement. When I looked again, the figure was gone. The road was empty. I took a deep breath, my hands shaking. Somehow I managed to turn the car around and head back the way I came. I didn't stop at the gas station, didn't even look for the car that had been following me. I just drove, straight through the storm, until I finally reached a town with people around. Later I learned the truth. The man I'd been trying to outrun was a notorious local criminal who had once been arrested for several violent crimes in the area, but he had escaped years ago. I don't know if he was the one who had been following me that night, but the thought haunts me. I'll never forget the feeling of being watched, the fear of knowing that someone could be just inches away, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And every time I hear the thunder now, I can't help but wonder if there's someone still out there lurking in the storm, ready to follow the next person who makes the mistake of driving alone on that road. I never thought a weekend getaway could turn into something like this. It started out like any other trip, just a few friends heading to a remote cabin in the woods to escape the city. We'd been planning it for weeks, and when the storm hit, we figured it was just another part of the adventure. The rain started coming down hard and the wind howled outside, but inside, the cabin was cozy. We all gathered around the fireplace, cracking jokes and playing cards. The kind of night you imagine when you think of a cabin in the woods. But as the storm worsened, things started to feel off. The thunder cracked so loudly it felt like the whole place might fall apart. Then Matt disappeared. At first we thought he'd gone out for a walk to clear his head, but when we checked the porch and around the cabin, there was no sign of him. His stuff was still inside, his jacket, his backpack, but he was gone. We called out for him, but the wind was so loud, it swallowed our voices. The storm wasn't just heavy, it was suffocating. We decided to search the surrounding woods, hoping to find Matt huddled somewhere trying to escape the storm. We ventured out in pairs, flashlights in hand, but the forest was thick with rain, and it felt like the storm was trying to keep us from finding anything. Time seemed to stretch on forever, and as we wandered deeper into the trees, I started to feel a knot tighten in my stomach. Something wasn't right. After what felt like hours, we returned to the cabin soaked to the bone and exhausted, but still, no sign of Matt. It was almost like he'd vanished. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, something darker than the storm outside. As the night dragged on, the storm raged harder and we gathered around the fireplace, too afraid to speak. There was this eerie silence among us, like none of us wanted to say what we were all thinking. Had something happened to Matt? Was he out there, lost in the woods? Or had something happened inside the group itself? The next morning, the storm finally calmed. The clouds parted, and the sun broke through. We went outside to look for Matt again, but what we found was unsettling. It wasn't just the forest or the storm that felt off. It was everything. There were no footprints in the mud, no signs of struggle. It was as though Matt had simply disappeared. And that's when I realized it wasn't just a storm that was keeping us from finding Matt. It was something else. Something we'd all missed. And now, I couldn't shake the feeling that the storm had hidden something much worse than just rain.